Hey guys, good morning. Jonathan here with Florida Turf Pros. I want to go over a balance sheet real quick for your lawn care business. These terms a lot of times are foreign to people who are getting started, or maybe you're kind of seasoned and you don't really understand, a P&L like an income statement, a balance sheet, cash flow statements, that type of thing. I want to give you a very, very useful tool so you can look at your lawn business and see where you stand. Is how much is it worth? Like, how much equity do you actually have built up in it, compared to your assets, compared to all your liabilities. So what I'm going to do in this video, and keep in mind, guys, what I'm going to show you in this video, I don't mean to talk down, but I'm going to bring this way down, assuming that you know absolutely nothing about how that balance sheet works. So I'm going to do a very gross, overly simplified balance sheet just to get you thinking about, okay, how can I use this to look at my business as we progress through the season and see, okay, are we improving our equity? Are we improving the overall wealth of the business? So let me show you a balance sheet, okay? And again, this is a very oversimplified way of doing this, but it's just to get you thinking and understanding that you can track this in your business, and it doesn't have to be something that is extremely complicated, okay? So let's jump right into it. Okay, so a balance sheet, basically it is assets equals liabilities plus owner's equity. What the heck does that mean, okay? Assets, let's talk about that real quick. Assets are cash that you have in the bank right now. That would be your mowers, your equipment, trailers, trucks, all the assets for your business, okay? We could subdivide these out into long-term assets, short-term assets, accounts receivables, all that type of stuff, but don't do all that. Let's just talk about assets, which would be your cash on hand, the actual equipment that you have, trucks and trailers and that type of thing, okay? So let's make a list real quick of your assets. Okay, and I understand that may be hard to see, but what it says is assets equals liabilities plus owner's equity, okay? So hopefully you've made a list of your assets, okay? If you haven't, go ahead and pause the video and do that real quick. Okay, so how does assets equal your liabilities plus owner's equity, okay? Another way to think about this balance sheet, this snapshot of your company is assets minus your liabilities equals the owner's equity. That's your real wealth. Your wealth is the owner's equity for the business. So assets equals liabilities plus owner's equity. That is the actual way that a balance sheet is constructed whenever you're looking at it on paper. But another way of thinking about that is your assets minus all of your liabilities equals basically what's left over owner's equity. That's how much you actually have in wealth in your business, okay? Now, again, that is a very oversimplified thing, but let's talk about liabilities real quick. Your liabilities are going to be things like your fixed liabilities. Are going to be things like the debt that you carry on your trucks for the business, the debt that you carry on your mowers, the debt you carry on aerators, and all the equipment that you carry debt on. That is a liability, okay? That is subtracted from your assets, all right? Another form of a liability, it could be, I'm just trying to think of very simple examples here. If you have an ongoing payment, like let's say you have borrowed money for your business and you have a balance outstanding of $15,000 on a credit card for the business, that is a liability, okay? All those items are subtracted from your assets to give you owner's equity, okay? So owner's equity, again, it is what is left over after you subtract the liabilities from your assets, okay? Assets minus liabilities equals owner's equity, but the correct way to look at a balance sheet is assets will be listed all on the left side, and then on the right side you'll have liabilities up top and owner's equity at the bottom. and the left side will match the right side, okay? Let me show you a sample balance sheet, okay? Okay, so again, what we have here is assets are going to be listed on the left, and then liabilities listed here, and then what is left over is owner's equity. So whenever you look at a balance sheet, this number down here of your assets is going to be the exact same number as liability plus owner's equity, okay? It's called a balance sheet. It has to balance, okay? Your assets always equal your liabilities plus owner's equity. And again, another way of looking at that is assets minus liabilities equals your owner's equity. And that's how those two sides balance, okay? How can you use this and what can you do with it for your business, okay? That's what this all really boils down to. You can start at the beginning of the year and say, this is where our company sits at right now as far as our owner's equity, okay? Here's how many assets we have. Here's our liabilities on those assets, and this is what's left over. This is how much our company is truly worth, okay? So you take that, and the balance sheet, it's a snapshot. It's a point in time. That's the terminology for it. It's a time in your business when, bam, you look at it. It's not looking at back stuff, forward stuff. It is right then and there exactly how much your business is worth. What can you do with that? 3 months later, run another balance sheet, okay? Let's see, are we paying off debt? And if we're paying off debt, that means that our liabilities are going down, therefore our owner's equity is going up, okay? So you could do another balance sheet about 3 months later and say, okay, look here, we are really improving on our balance sheet. We have built up considerable wealth, and you can continue to do that, all right? That is the gist of the balance sheet, guys. And if you haven't jumped into doing a balance sheet, I'm going to cover income statement, in the future. But a balance sheet is something that doesn't get talked about a whole lot. We always talk about profit and loss from our business, but a balance sheet, it is one of the big three tools for a reason. Your income statement, balance sheet, and then statement of cash flows. Okay, the balance sheet, even if all this stuff seems foreign to you, I want you to don't feel overwhelmed by it. It's very easy to understand. Just dive into it, start practicing, and what that's going to allow you to do as a lawn care business owner is to track how your company's wealth is actually progressing, okay? It gives you a way to measure the performance of your company instead of just the income statement. The income statement is fine, but if we're plowing through our cash, every 6 months or every year and just repeating the cycle over and over again, the business itself is not building wealth, all right? We want our balance sheet, owner's equity to continue to rise, okay? Maybe 5, 6, 7 years from now, you've got a considerable amount of owner's equity because all of your mowers are paid off, all of your trucks are paid off, you have hardly no debt on the business liabilities. That is when your business, when you go to sell it, you're going to get top dollar for your business. Maybe you never want to sell it, but I guarantee you, if you ever go to the bank and are looking to borrow money, if you show them a balance sheet with 2 or 3 years of data in there, they're going to look at you like, this guy knows what the heck he's talking about. They're going to be much more likely to let you borrow money, okay? So anyways, balance sheet, guys, I hope that helps you. I'm going to do a series on financial statements, and I'm going to and I don't mean to say dumb it down, but I realize there's just a lot of people who've never been exposed to any of this. So I really just want to take my time and kind of bring it down and just assume that you don't know the first thing about it and just start from scratch, because the benefits of understanding and implementing a balance sheet and those types of things, understanding financial statements, if you're serious about your lawn care business, it's something that at some point you don't have to be an expert in, but you need to understand the basics of it, okay? That is the basics of a balance sheet. God bless.